1923 Season 2's finale confirms one fan-favorite character will be in Taylor Sheridan's next Yellowstone prequel. Amid all the devastation in 1923 Season 2's finale, one upside is the confirmation that Taylor Sheridan will include a fan-favorite character in his next Yellowstone prequel. 1923 Season 2, Episode 7 was a massive finish for the Dutton family, with Jacob, Harrison Ford, and Cara Dutton, Helen Mirren, coming out on top. The Duttons' tactical conflict against Donald Whitfield, Timothy Dalton, and Banner Creighton, Jerome Flynn, came to a head in 1923's finale, with Spencer Dutton, Brandon Sklenar, finally coming home, helping to finish off the army attacking the Yellowstone ranch. Despite their victory, the Dutton family faced a grave loss in 1923's finale when Alex Dutton, Julia Schlapfer, succumbed to the necrosis of her legs and arm, a condition incurred by Alex's exposure to Montana's unforgiving winter cold. After delivering John Dutton, Alex dies in Spencer's arms. 1923 Season 2's ending explains that her loss was felt by Spencer for the rest of his life. In her concluding narration, Elsa Dutton, Isabel May, reveals that her brother lived for 45 years after 1923's events, dying in 1969. Therefore, Yellowstone audiences can be fairly certain this isn't the last we've seen of Spencer Dutton. Since he lived until the late 1960s, we can be fairly confident that Spencer will return to Taylor Sheridan's teased Yellowstone prequel, 1944. The World War II-era Dutton family saga will presumably pick up amid the events of the war, and it would be the perfect setting for Spencer's return. Since Elsa confirms that her brother lived for 45 more years, and Spencer takes control of the ranch in 1923 Season 2's ending, it makes sense that Spencer is in charge of the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch in 1944. Therefore, there would have to be some extenuating circumstances explaining Spencer's absence. Although Spencer would be in his mid-50s in 1944, the war hero could opt to return to the military. Still, it would be compelling to include Spencer's war story rather than ignore it. And 1923 already set a precedent for Spencer's story, running parallel to what's happening at the Yellowstone Ranch. Moreover, Taylor Sheridan including 1923's main character in his next Dutton saga just makes sense, since Sklenar's performance made Spencer one of the most beloved Dutton family members in the Yellowstone franchise. Considering Spencer doesn't die in 1923's finale, it's safe to say he will emerge in 1944 somehow. Spencer's likely return in 1944 means we will get to learn more about the character, but there are a couple of things audiences already know from Kevin Costner's John Dutton in Yellowstone. In Yellowstone Season 4, Episode 3, Phantom Pain, John Dutton tells Jimmy that his grandfather lost a leg, explaining that the worst pain his ancestor ever felt was in his toes after his limb was amputated. Since it looks like Spencer's baby, John Dutton is the father of Costner's character. That would make Spencer John Dutton IE's grandfather, meaning that Spencer loses a leg sometime in the collective Yellowstone timeline. The clues have led many Yellowstone fans to believe that Spencer will lose his leg in World War II, though John Dutton doesn't explicitly state that his grandfather incurred his injury in battle. Still, considering 1923 Season 2 set Spencer up as a war hero, a Medal of Honor recipient, it could be that Spencer will return to the front lines in 1944, where he will lose his leg fighting for his country yet again. That said, Spencer will have a plethora of personal developments to explore, like the widow and his second son that Elsa Dutton's 1923 narration mentions. While there's little word on 1944's development, Brandon Sklenar has said that he's open to returning to the role of Spencer Dutton. On one hand, Sklenar's return to the role would be a thrill, since he and Julia Schlaffer were a highlight of 1923 seasons 1 and 2. And Yellowstone's audience is hungry to see more of their characters. On the other hand, Spencer would be middle-aged in 1944, and Sklenar is only in his mid-30s. That said, it's more likely that Taylor Sheridan will cast an older actor to convey an aged version of Spencer Dutton. A new actor stepping into the role of Spencer Dutton could be just as good, since Sheridan's casting team has a knack for finding believable representations of characters in their older and younger ages. Still, it's exciting to know that Brandon Sklenar is open to reprising his role as Spencer, since Sheridan also heavily leans into flashbacks to drive his Yellowstone stories and their character-driven plots. Sklenar could return to show Spencer's first years running the ranch in flashbacks, explaining how he adapted. Regardless of Sklenar's involvement, it's exciting to know Spencer will be alive for the next Yellowstone story. The dust has barely settled on 1923 Season 2, but fans are already buzzing over what's next in the ever-expanding Yellowstone universe. Taylor Sheridan's knack for spinning tales of grit, legacy, and blood-soaked land continues to amaze audiences. And the season finale of 1923 didn't just close one chapter. It opened the door to a brand new saga. A single line, a poignant glance, and a deeply symbolic gesture confirmed what many suspected but dared not believe. Spencer Dutton will return, and he's headed for Sheridan's next prequel. Since his introduction, Spencer Dutton has captured hearts with his tortured soul, lion-hunting bravado, and complicated love story with Alexandra. A veteran haunted by war and drawn to the farthest corners of the world, Spencer wasn't just the rugged action hero. He was the embodiment of the Dutton's resilience, carrying the same fire as his uncle Jacob, but tempered with a poetic weariness that made fans root for him. And now, it seems, Spencer's journey is far from over. The final scene that changed everything. In the emotionally charged closing scene of 1923 Season 2, Spencer stood alone on the Montana frontier. The land stretched out before him, harsh, unforgiving, and full of ghosts. After being separated from Alexandra yet again, Spencer finally arrived home, only to find the ranch on the brink of ruin and the Dutton legacy hanging by a thread. But it wasn't just what he said, it was what he did. He knelt in the same field where his father, James Dutton, from 1883, had once bulled into the soil. And in a quiet voice, Spencer whispered, "If I can't save it, I'll die trying." That line echoed through the fandom like a shot fired across time. Not only did it mirror the themes of Yellowstone, where land is more sacred than life, but it cemented Spencer as the bridge between the wild past and the modern-day drama unfolding with John Dutton RAI. And according to behind-the-scenes whispers and casting breadcrumbs, Sheridan isn't done with Spencer yet. The next prequel, Dutton 1944. While Paramount Plus has yet to officially drop a title, sources close to the production have confirmed that the next installment in the Yellowstone prequel series will be set in the mid-1940s. Tentatively titled Dutton 1944. It's a time of seismic global change, and for the American West, it's the twilight of one age and the dawn of another. The war is back, machines are replacing men, and the land that the Duttons have fought so hard for is now under threat from a whole new breed of invaders: corporate interests, federal policies, and post-war industrialization. It's a time that demands strength and sacrifice. And who better to lead the family through such upheaval than Spencer? At approximately 45 years old in 1944, Spencer Dutton is the ideal central figure to carry the torch into the next generation. Still battle-hardened, wiser, and more grounded than the impulsive lion hunter we met in 1923, he would be entering this new story as both warrior and patriarch, a man who has seen the horrors of 2 wars and still refuses to let the land go. A new kind of war. While 1883 gave us the Oregon Trail and 1923 gave us the hardships of frontier justice and post-World War I trauma, Dutton 1944, as insiders are calling it, will reportedly explore the fallout of World War II and the growing divide between traditional ranching values and a rapidly modernizing America. Spencer, shaped by his own demons, is now tasked with keeping the family together, not just in the physical sense, but ideologically. The ranch is no longer defended by bullets and branding irons alone. Now there are legal battles, union pressures, and government regulations creeping into every corner of Montana life. But Spencer, having survived African lions, Nazi torpedoes, and the unbearable ache of separation from Alexandra, is ready to evolve, or fight trying. What about Alexandra? One burning question lingers. Will Alexandra return with him? The finale hinted at hope. A letter, postmarked from London, arrived at the Yellowstone ranch. Spencer's hands trembled as he opened it, and although we never saw the contents, the expression on his face was clear: hope, sorrow, and something like a vow. Sheridan is too smart a storyteller to leave a romance as powerful as Spencer and Alexandra's unfinished. In Dutton 1944, fans suspect we'll finally see the two reunited, older, battle-scarred, and wiser. Perhaps even as the matriarch and patriarch of a new generation of Dutton.